Well, happy, beautiful day. Happy, beautiful 2026. I'm Dr. Bob Rakowski, Blue Diamond out of Houston, Texas, and welcome to this week's edition of our Conversation on Success. One of my absolute favorite topics. I'm going to share how to create your best year ever. And yes, there will be new cutting edge information on that. But the first thing I'm going to tell you is that a year is a collection of months and weeks and days and hours and minutes and seconds and ultimately moments. And the more better moments you create, the better life that you create. So remember, it's good to look in the distance, but it's best to act in the now. Couple simple announcements. 2026 special. Yes, new team members can join for $20.26. An absolutely epic special. Organo also has a We Miss You program. If people haven't ordered for over a year, if their website is expired, if they put in a $100 order, then the renewal fee is waived. Also, 10% off on any first day of the month orders and 10% off on auto ship. Two of the best promotions of all time. You know, I always like to teach. I always like to share what I've learned. Les Brown, one of the greatest speakers of all time, he said, you know what? When you talk to people, they want to know three things. Number one, who are you? Number two, what do you have? Number three, why should I listen to you? So, you know, first, I'm a child of God. I'm a family man. I'm a loving father, grandfather, son, brother, you name it, right? Those are the most important things. But I'm also a functional medicine expert. I've helped every category of patient for over 3 decades get better. So these are fun picks with the best of the best, but I've also seen the other end of the spectrum, people that medicine gave up on that were sent home to die. And thankfully, many of them are alive today. And here's what I can tell you. The most consistent tool that I use, the most powerful tool potentially in terms of intervention, Ganoderma lucidum. I say potentially powerful because I believe love is the most powerful tool. And we want to bring that to whatever we do. Kelly and I have attempted to do that with our team, with our world, and I think we've done it successfully. We're not quite yet 14 years in Organo. Our team has crossed over $60 million in sales. You do the math on that. That means that we've got a good team sharing a lot of goodness or sharing a lot of treasures with the entire world. The way our world is advancing, if you're not at least familiar with AI, maybe even using some AI, I think you're missing out. But keep in mind, there's artificial intelligence. I don't think that'll ever be able to touch human intelligence. The two together are even better yet. But best of all is infinite intelligence. And here's what I'll tell you. I believe we all have access to infinite intelligence. And one of my favorite quotes is, when you're partnered with infinite, you cannot take too much. And infinite is available to all of us. My favorite AI platform, Grok. I happen to really like Elon Musk. I don't know what you think of him. But very good platform. I've looked at all of them, and I asked Grok, can you name 10 authors and influencers, by the way, preferably who have a book, who have a plan for your best year ever? Then after you look at all those plans, what are the magnificent 7 consensus strategies in order? That's the kind of stuff you can get with AI. I would probably spend, who knows, months looking for that answer before. Plug it in, let AI do its work. I get the answer back in a matter of minutes, and I build on it. So 10 amazing author influencers, 10 books, 7 strategies, and we are going to go through them. I'm going to start with this one. This beautiful young lady, Rachel Hollis, Girl Wash Your Face is the title of the book. And what's the summary? You know, hey, she was feeling sorry for herself and she realized, okay, let's just get up, wash my face and start the day. And that expanded. So I like to use this as my summary, clean up, right? Because cleanliness is next to godliness. Hey, be clean when you're interacting with people. That's about the least you can do. And I'm going to say be clean in body, mind, and spirit. Clean up, show up, step up, because everything you want is up a little higher than you currently are, and certainly never give up. And then her next book, Girl, Stop Apologizing. First, stop whining, stop apologizing, and ultimately choose success over excuses. Love those strategies. Feel good productivity. That's my favorite kind of productivity. In fact, don't you always want to feel good? And here's the summary of it. Success doesn't lead to feeling good. Feeling good leads to success. Isn't that an interesting play on it? And it's wisdom that we've probably heard for decades. We want to enjoy the journey. Others will say it's hard to have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. So why not enjoy every step along the way? Tony Robbins, maybe the greatest influence of all time, certainly one of my most powerful influencers. He talks about the big three: your state, your story, your strategy. Your state is your inner game. Are you energized? Are you positive? Are you on purpose? Are you showing up? What's your story? Hey, I'm the kind of person that knows how to win and will, in every ethical way, work my way towards winning, adding as much value to anybody and everybody along the way. And the strategy is not just action, but massive action. Brendan Bouchard, high performance habits. He should have come up with a seventh, because 6 is not a very good number. I like 7s, but personal habits, people seek clarity, they generate energy, and they raise necessity. If it's a must, you'll get it done. As Tony Robbins says, turn your shoulds into musts. I should turns into be a story you tell yourself all the time, but must, okay, do it now, as W. Clement Stone would say. And then social, it says increase productivity, develop influence, and demonstrate courage. Courage may be the king of virtue, wisdom, the queen of virtue, love, possibly the greatest virtue of all time. And then, by the way, keep in mind, we want self-mastery to be a big part of our day. Darren Hardy may be one of the best productivity experts today. And it's almost like a spin on what Bruce Lee said. Bruce Lee said, I don't fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times, 10,000 kicks one time. I do fear the man that's practiced one kick 10,000 times. So notice what Darren Hardy says. Success is not doing 5,000 things really well. I don't know anybody that can do that many, but it's half a dozen things doing really well 5,000 times. So here are my now magnificent 7 of life. You've heard me talk about eat right, drink right, think right, move right, sleep right, poop right, talk right every day. We're mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, social, financial, impactful. Number 1, align your body, mind, and spine with divine, and make people feel fine, as John DeMartini would say. That's a really good role for a chiropractor, but that alignment, that integrity, especially with the infinite intelligence of the universe, God, if you want, and your mission connected through you, that's really good. And then we need to eat, move, sleep, because that's how we energize this animal. And love, serve, grow is how we pay back the world. But Wallace Wattles said this. He says, getting rich isn't about doing certain things. It's about doing things in a certain way with that right vibration. As Tesla would say, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, look at energy, frequency, and vibration. Yeah, the way you vibrate, the way you're energized, the way you interact with people, that will determine your future. Jay Shetty, think like a monk. Monks have some advantages. They're committed, they're in solitude, they're away from everything else. But how about this amazing monk quote? When you learn to navigate and manage your breath, you can navigate any situation in life. So as Da Vinci would say, there is no greater mastery than self-mastery. Maybe it starts with breath. That's probably easier to master than mindset, or how your heart is beating, or how your nervous system is firing. But we do want to master every part of our life. Atomic Habits, James Clear. I remember the great statement, you don't want to change your life, you want to change your day. Well, change your moment, change your second to second, change everything. And notice what James Clear says, success is the product of daily habits, not once in a lifetime transformations. And he says, by the way, we got 4 laws to change behavior. If you want to build good habits, you want to make it obvious, you want to make it attractive, you want to make it easy, and you want to make it satisfying. That is a really good quartet. What about bad habits? Get them out of your sight, out of mind. Unattractive, how? Maybe create some penalty for it. Make it hard. If people didn't keep any junk food in their house and had to walk to the store to get it, I'm guessing they do a whole lot less, and then make it unsatisfying, however you go about doing that. And I love this from Robin Sharma: to lead others, you must first master yourself, and the quality of life directly related to the quality of daily habits. Maria Forleo, powerful, amazing, wonderful woman, very powerful topic, very powerful title. Her mother taught her everything is figure outable. Now, keep in mind, you may not be able to figure it all out right now, but someone can. And that's the value of a network. Your network is your net worth. Your network really is your everything. So connect with people that have talents you don't, wisdom you don't, which, by the way, that's everybody on some level. And especially connect with those that know how to get what you want. Hal Elrod, this was a book of the year for me many, many years ago. He nearly died and put his life together in a very good way. He calls it his miracle morning, and he has his strategy. And I use the acronym SAVERS: silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and writing. That was scribing. That was Hal Elrod's miracle morning. But I like life savers: love. Let that be the first. That's a 7. Send love to someone who needs it. Someone who, maybe you are having a hard time loving. In fact, those are probably the people that need it the most. Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. Hey, listen, there's things we don't want to do. So, all right, you got 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Action. That was a brilliant book, a brilliant philosophy, and applied works really, really well. So now, what are these 7 common, proven consensus strategies from these 10 author influencer geniuses, of which we have a phenomenal variety of people represented in that group? Lots of different demographics. Number 1, you want to get clear about your vision and your goals. Build good habits, atomic habits, as James Clear would say. Master everything, but mindset is a good start. Take immediate action, as W. Clemenceau said. Do it now. Prioritize high impact routines. A miracle morning would be one of those. Deep work, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Practice gratitude and presence, very, very important. And commit to consistency and accountability. So in terms of clarity, probably the most difficult clarity for any of us to get is to know thyself. So Socrates is quoted with saying that, but this is ancient philosophy. So someone was walking across the streets of Rome and, ran into one of the sages. It wasn't Socrates. It was a guy named Thales. And they said, hey, what's the most difficult thing in life? And Thales responded, to know thyself. Then he asked, well, what's the easiest thing to do? He says, well, to give advice. And what's the most fulfilling? True success. And that's a book, a series, The Art of Achievement by Tom Morris. What is true success? Clarity, consistency, confidence, committed, concentration of effort, character, and contentment. Those are his magnificent 7. After you know yourself, you want to know thy target. So you start looking at a GPS, it knows where you want to go, it figures out where you are, figures the route. But here's the challenge. Do you really know where you are? And Bob Proctor says no. Most of us dramatically overestimate our capacity, underestimate how stuck we are. I watched a guy on the internet this morning. He lost 198 pounds last year. God bless him. What an amazing effort. But his first week, he gained 3 pounds. And he went, oh my God, how is this possible? I'm going to tell you what, it does happen. What was his breakthrough? He said, okay, I don't know enough about this by myself. Let me get some help. So he hired or connected with Diamond Dallas Page, a former World Wrestling guy that's a yoga expert who has helped many people get back to health. So back to our strategy here. Where are you, right? So building, a multi-million-dollar business is probably almost the equivalent for most people as getting up Everest. And people say, oh yeah, a lot of people have done it. I'll do it. Really, you got to train. You got to be fit. You got to have the right tools. You have to have the right strategies. You have to have the right guidance. Or guess what? You're like Edmund Hillary, going after it blind. And remember, he failed multiple times, and it's a miracle he didn't die. 2 in 8 people that attempt Everest will die. 1 in 8, sorry. Otherwise, I would have said 1 in 4. 1 in 8 people that attempt Everest die. That was the last time I read that stat. Not the case in this business, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of casualties because they don't have the right strategy, the right equipment, the right guide. We're trying to make that easier on you. Now, it's said that there are 4 phases of life. You can go with them more than 4, but I like these 4: survival, stability, success, and significance. Now, my question for you is, where are you and what are you pursuing? If you're not in survival, you're pursuing survival. And then you want to get a little more stable, and then you want to have even abundance, a little to share, and then significance is where you help enough people. I remember what Zig Ziglar said: you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. So now Ed Milet says this, and this is pure wisdom. Now, remember, Ed made his first 10 million in network marketing, but he said, you are most qualified to help the person you used to be. So if you used to be looking for a way to survive, well, guess what? Now you're not that person anymore. And you could help that person by showing them something. But here's what we know about recruiting up. They always say recruit up, recruit up, recruit up. Hey, that's a challenge to do. So I thought, well, isn't dating like recruiting? And what happens when people try to recruit up on a dating app? It rarely works. Very low rate of success. So I'm not saying recruit down, but if you used to be in survival, you can help people get out of not being there and getting into there. If you are now stable and used to be in survival, well, guess what? You can help people on that journey. If you're helping people if you're in success, you can help people from stability to that level. And then finally, if you're in significance, you can help people get there. But again, recruiting up a challenge. But remember, you're not alone. Every one of you is connected to someone who is profoundly successful, profoundly influential. And sometimes the best thing you can do is introduce your partners. When it comes to goals, I'm a huge fan of process goals, more so than outcome goals. People say, well, I want to make X amount of dollars this month. Okay, fine. It's you either made it or you didn't. But the process, okay, I want to take a 1-hour deep work time block, or maybe 90-minute deep work time block, and I'm going to spend the majority of that time making connections and adding value to people. And when I've earned the right, I'll make a recommendation. Do you drink coffee or tea? Yeah, of course, everybody does. Listen, I'm partnered with the world's healthiest gourmet coffee and tea company. I'd love to gift you some samples. And if you like them, I'd like to earn your business. That's always been my pitch. That's how we have enrolled over 500 business partners and have created over 60 million in sales. So Aristotle said, you know what? We are what we repeatedly do. Success then and excellence is not an act, but a habit. So we want to get those atomic habits in there. And this compounding effect can be pretty amazing. So the guy that lost 400 pounds, at first he didn't see anything. He didn't physically look any different. I said he lost 400. He lost 198. But I'll tell you what, then all of a sudden you could start seeing it, and it really started taking off. That's like a lot of things. There's a lot of things that have to happen in the background before your success takes off. But as long as you are consistent with your good habits, you will get better. So this is Gwyneth Paltrow as she is, and then in a fat suit in the movie Shallow Hal. But here's what I can tell you. If she would have exercised 6 minutes a day intensely, a Tabata, every day for 20 years, well, guess what? She could have gone from her worst to her best. If she got one extra piece of bread a day, she could have gone from her best to her worst over 20 years. And by the way, if she exercised 6 minutes and cut back one piece of bread a day, she could have gone from the person on the right to the left in just 10 years. So the more you do collectively together, the better. But it just goes to show how much things can compound. And so most of us are whittling away at our life with bad choices. On the right, I show a picture of a blue zone fisherman, 100 years old, still looking good, still loving catching fish for his family and community. Someone asked Tom Morris, and there's the book, The Art of Achievement. Love that book. Why are good habits hard to form and easy to break, and the opposite of true of bad? And it all comes down to delayed gratification. We want what we want and we want it now. So here was the test. They had kids, they put them in a room. They said, kids, if you can wait, and they didn't tell them how long until we get back, you'll get 2 marshmallows. They put 1 marshmallow in front of them to tempt them. If you can wait till we get back, you'll get 2. There was a very small percentage that could wait for the 2, but what they found out very, very simply, 12 years later, their college testing was much, much, much better. Their body mass index was better at age 30, and their brain scans were better at age 50. So giving up what you want right now for what you ultimately want is a really good strategy. We're not saying never be happy, but delay the gratification, earn your treats. Instant gratification, hey, short-term pleasure, long-term pain. Delayed gratification, short-term pain, long-term gain. Next is mindset. Einstein, so many great quotes. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. So here's what I want your consciousness to be. You deserve it, and it's worth it. So, listen, you have made lots of good choices and you've made lots of bad choices, like all of us. Let's focus on the good. Know that you are worthy, you are loved, you are partnered with infinite, or you could be, and nothing is off limits to you. And Bob Proctor, he would put these graphics up about energy, and he says, okay, your results are at this lower level of energy. Your goal is at that higher level of energy. You've got to raise your energy. And remember what Tesla said, it's all about energy, frequency, and vibration. Keep thinking the same, keep getting the same, change your thinking. That'll ultimately change your identity, your actions, and your results. And one of the best tips ever, believe bigger, believe faster. So what do you want to believe in? The DNA of business for network marketing, Eric Golden and Amway Diamond, amazing character. This must be unshakable. You have to know that the industry is here and epic and serving. You have to believe in the company. 17 plus years in operations in over 35 countries, billions of sales, and we're getting better. Do we have a little downturn during, the pandemic? Yeah, most companies did. But here's what I'll tell you. We stuck it out. A lot of companies didn't. And we are coming back better, stronger, faster, smarter than ever. There's some companies that jumped in with quick wins. You know what? A lot of those companies aren't around anymore. So we have a legacy company, a legacy product. And I think it's the absolute best reorder product ever in history. And we've got an epic comp plan, and very, very happy to be a recipient of that. Now, what can you have lesser beliefs in? The system, because it's ever evolving. The upline, because, hey, hopefully they're ever evolving, but they're people. Your personal sponsor, hey, if you got a good one, good for you. If you don't, so what? You're still connected to epic success within this company. And then I actually think this ought to be a hardcore belief. Yourself, believe in yourself, because that's really where this all starts. Number 4 is action. Grant Cardone, he was interviewed. He says, how many times did you use the word action in your book? I think it was the 10X rule. He says, I don't think I used it once. I think it was always actions, because he believed it must be plural. And he said, you know what? I'm not a think and rich, grow rich guy. I'm a do and grow rich. Well, I'll tell you what, you got to think to do, but good for you, Grant. You are definitely a doer. And what do leaders do? A perfect leader leads their following to do more of the right activities than they would do without them. If you are that leader, eventually that's going to be very, very lucrative for you. And I say eventually because every business has 3 phases. Phase 1, you're overworked, underpaid. Think about my profession as a chiropractor. That was more than a decade. And I'll go back to my 9 years of college. I was not making money. I was spending money. Then I got to invest in an office. Then I got to put time in there. Hey, a decade to kind of break even, right? So you start looking at this business. How long will that be for you? Well, it depends on your skills, depends on your action. Phase 2, you're fairly compensated. Good place to be. By the way, that's where I've been in my practice. I believe I'm fairly compensated, not overpaid. But in network marketing, I'm overpaid. And why is that? We have a team of over 30,000 people, having generated over 60 million in sales. And, one of my mentors said this: if you can accomplish your goals all by yourself, they are not very big. But here's the problem. People start out thinking it's going to be easier. And when they don't get the results, when the results are below their expectations, they're miserable. They call this in this graphic, the valley of disappointment. I'm actually going to call it, from Jim Rohn, the pain of discipline. And he said, you know what? We all have to suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret and disappointment. Discipline will pay forever, by the way, whereas disappointment, well, guess what? You've got to keep working beyond and through those. And I'll go with what Nick Saban said, two pains of life, pain of discipline, pain of disappointment. But I love his take on it. If you can handle the pain of discipline, then you'll never have to deal with the pain of disappointment. So I wish that were entirely true. Nick, you're one of the best coaches of all time. If I lose, I'm still disappointed. But you know what? Not for long, right? Because if I gave it my best, I hang my head high and I realize, you know what? I did my best. And the chips went where they did. But here's a simple reality. When your expectations are met or exceeded, you're happy. If they're not, you're not happy. So a big part of what we need to do is manage expectations. Let people know, you know what, this will be very, very challenging. How many people start a network marketing business? Millions. How many succeed? Not enough, right? We probably can go down to less than 1% of people really make this work for them. Number 5 is high leverage activities. I like Archimedes. Give me a lever long enough, a prop strong enough, I can single-handedly move the earth. But here's a simple fact. The stronger you are, then you don't need as big a lever, as strong a lever. Now, our tools and our samples and our connections, those are essentially levers. But the stronger you are, the less you need to rely on them. So Covey said this: once you have a clear picture of your priorities, that is values and goals, organize your high leverage activities around them. So Tom Big Al Schreider, a mega success in network marketing, I think a great trainer, he has his formula for success. He says, okay, how many people do you talk to a day? And you can rate that from 0 to 10. What's the quality of the people you're talking to? He says, if you're talking to death row inmates, you probably aren't going to be able to build much of a business with that, or first graders, right? They don't qualify for the business. What's your skill level? I think most people overestimate their skills. How strong is your belief? Well, look at your results. They're directly related to your belief. That's probably a good thing to make stronger. How likable are you? Hey, I'm sorry. There's some people that need to work on that. I have seen people that they couldn't build a business because they were critical and mean-spirited and things like that. You know what? Be kind, be loving. And that's a good way to go. But so keep in mind, if you got a 2 in each category, that's 32 of a possible 100,000 points. Midway, 3,125. How different is that from 100,000? Mega different. So if you can build up any and all of these categories, your success should go up exponentially. So what do? We share coffee, we share resources. What's the third component? Maybe teach others to do the same. I believe samples are the best tool ever. I'm pretty sure that 95+% of all of our signups were directly related from samples. We do want to keep it super simple. I have complicated things many, many times, and maybe that's why no one on my team could do the same thing I could do, right? Because it wasn't duplicatable. But here's a fact. Systems don't duplicate. Simple does. Anybody can use the OG Pulse app. Plenty of resources, all under the touch of a button, high quality videos, even a link to your own store. If you don't have it, get the premium version because there's other benefits there. And if you don't know about it, learn about OG Pulse. High leverage routine, Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning. You could almost call that deep work. But Cal Newport, this guy's an absolute genius. He says, if you can really just lock out all distraction and work uninterrupted, you will get far more done than the rest of the world. Robin Sharma calls it your tight bubble of total focus. And he has his 90-91 rule. He says, if for the next 90 days, if you'll spend the first 90 minutes of the morning working on your one thing, you'll likely get more done than everybody else will in the year. I'm going to encourage you to do that. If you're really putting in 90 good minutes, you will grow And as you grow, your business grows. And as you and your business grows, your income grows. And keep in mind, that's usually the right trajectory. If someone builds their business or their income before they grow, they usually lose it all. Number 6 is gratitude. I love Louise Hayes with that. I'll show you later. She starts and ends each day with gratitude. But very, very simply, gratitude is so good. It feels good. It increases your probability of flow. It reduces stress. It improves focus. There's nearly 4,000 published medical studies on it. And optimists, aren't they grateful for moments more often? And they live longer and up to 12 years longer. And there's our beautiful Louise Hay. My day begins and ends with gratitude and joy. Why not? What a great way to start and end each day. Finally, number 7, consistency and accountability. Sachin Patel is who I heard this from. Consistency carves canyons. I love that picture of the Grand Canyon. So a trickle of water over the course of like 80 million years carved this absolutely epic, beautiful natural wonder. Remember what Bruce Lee said, be like water. The water just goes. It goes with the flow. It doesn't yield. It has a problem. It goes around it and ultimately goes through it. So fun way to go. Consistency, the penny doubling analogy. If you had a penny day one of a 31-day month, double it every day at the end of the month, nearly $11 million. But what happens if you stop at day 15? $163. Not much, right? So if your business is not where you want it to be, consistency may be where it is. Finally, personal accountability is absolutely foundational. You know, I taught a course on weight management 2 decades ago. And what were the best strategies in weight management? Measurability and accountability. People measured their body, measured their food, and recorded it and had a coach that they had to share it with. Why not do it this way? Record your personal development, record your outreach, record your project, your processes and projects. Right now, every one of us is connected to great leaders, and there's nothing you can't find online or through AI. So to wrap it up, what are the 7 common strategies? Get clarity on your vision and goals, build atomic habits, habits that can change you and the world, master your mindset. I say master everything, but that mindset, that's a good starting point. Take immediate actions with an S per Grant Cardone. Prioritize high impact routines like deep work or Robin Sharma's tight bubble of total focus. Practice gratitude and presence. I didn't mention presence, but when you're there, be there. Commit to consistency and accountability. Remember, we have our 2026 membership. This is an epic time to grow. If someone hasn't ordered for a while, they can actually just order $100 and qualify for the We Miss You program. And remember, 10% off on auto ship, 10% off on first of the month orders. And I hope this helps you create your best year ever. And as always, I'm Dr. Bob Rakowski, absolutely knowing that we can all be happy, healthy, and successful. So good night and God bless.